Good evening, everyone. How you doing tonight? Boy, this is the best crowd we've had in a long time. Any teachers in the crowd? Any students in the crowd? That's how you knew to respond, I can tell. All right, we're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order, and it's May 13th, 2026. It's 6:30 p.m., and let's see, tonight the invocation will be given by, and I always try to abuse your name, but I'm going to try and get it right tonight. We welcome Rabbi Rafe Andrew Z.A. I get it? Yes. All right. He's from the Chabad of East County, which is located at 7189 Navajo Road, number B in San Diego. And so we appreciate you coming here to Santee. And the rabbi is the youngest of 5 children. He was born and raised in New York. After his bar mitzvah, he pursued advanced studies in Pittsburgh. And my family's from Pittsburgh, by the way. And Paris, before returning to New York City, where he received a rabbinic ordination from the Central Chabad Rabbinical, am I getting even close? At the Court of Israel. In 2010, he married Chaya, a San Diego native, and together they were raising their 6 children in San Carlos. During their rabbinic training, am I saying that right?
Rabbinic training, you got
rabbinic
it.
Training. Rabbi Andruzier spent summers traveling the world, supporting and uplifting Jewish communities. His outreach also included working with Jewish prisoners in upstate New York, organizing holiday programming and tending to their spiritual needs. In 2012, Rabbi Andruzier and his wife founded Chabad of East County, a Jewish outreach center based in San Carlos, serving the broader East County community. The organization has since expanded its impact with the recent purchase of a new center on Navajo Road. Thank you for being here this evening. We want you to pray for the United States of America, the state of California, our city, Santee, and of course this council. So everyone, please rise and join us for the invocation.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for getting me out of bedtime tonight. So good evening, everyone, to the mayor, the council members, the staff, and the residents. I'm honored to be here tonight to give voice to our small but vocal Jewish community. In the Jewish tradition, in this time of the year, we are currently in the season known as Sefirat HaOmer, which is the counting of the Omer, which is a 49-day count that we count every day between Passover and Shavuot. Passover is the celebration of Exodus out of Egypt. Shavuot, we mark the giving of the Torah, the Bible, to the Jewish people. So Passover celebrates freedom, Shavuot celebrates purpose. And the counting in between teaches us that freedom alone is not enough. A community becomes strong not only through independence, but through responsibility, growth, and care for one another. And we count every single day, which reminds us that every day matters and every person matters. Our sages teach that the Torah was only given when the people stood together at the mountain at Mount Sinai as one person with one heart. And that's not because everyone agreed on everything, but because they recognized that unity is greater than uniformity. As this council gathers tonight to deliberate and lead, may we remember that healthy communities are built day by day through listening, respect, humility, and service. May the work done here tonight bring wisdom to decisions, compassion to leadership, safety to our neighborhoods, and blessings to all the residents of Santee. And may we continue striving to build a city, a state, and a country where every individual feels valued, heard, and connected to something greater than themselves. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Rabbi? We'll have to have you back here sooner so I can try and remember how to say your name.
You got it.
All right, let's see where we're at here. Tonight, we're going to do a couple of presentations here to Santana High School students, Abraham Espino, Ben Siekert, and Rafan Katan. I hope I said those names right. Why don't you join me up front, and we'll do that. All of you, come on up. If I need you, come up. And any parents in the room? Come on up here to the front so you can get pictures, if you want pictures. All right, I'm going to go stand over here. That puts us in the center. So come on over here. Why don't you stand here? You come on over here. How's that sound? Well, so here's the thing. I was thinking, okay? The idea was you guys were going to take pictures of the kids getting things, but it might be a good idea if you're getting pictures with them too. I didn't think about that. So if everybody, I know, it's funny, isn't it? So here's how we're going to do this. We're going to give the kids a certificate, and then we'll get pictures. And I'm just picking them up as they are, no certain. And so I'm looking for Abraham. I put you on the right side. Okay, this is a certificate of Santee certificate of recognition. This certificate is proudly presented in recognition of Abraham Espino. The City of Santee recognizes Abraham, gold medal winner in the collision repair technology category at the California Skills USA Championship. Abraham is a student at Santana High School Career Technical Education Program, auto body repair and refinishing. Congratulations to you, Abraham. Did you get a job yet?
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm guessing you're Ben. Come over here, Ben. And the City of Santee Certificate of Recognition. This certificate is proudly presented in recognition of Ben Siekert. The City of Santee recognizes Ben, silver medal winner in the collision repair technology category at the California Skills USA Championship. Ben is a student also at Santana High School Career Technical Education Program, auto body repair and refinishing. Congratulations, Ben. You get a job yet? Not yet? Okay. Now you come on down here. What happened? The joke was I was wondering if it would be auto refinishing also.
You didn't say Rahaf right.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Silent H, right? Say it again. Robert. I want to try. Rahaf, okay. Yes. Trying to get it right. We're on TV. Say hello. I'm embarrassed now. I am. All right, this is the City of Santee Certificate of Recognition. This certificate is proudly presented in recognition of Rahaf Katan. The City of Santee recognizes Rahaf Katan, silver medal winner in the Principles of Engineering category of the California Skills USA Championships. Rahaf is a student at Santana High School Career Technical Education Program Engineering Pathway. Congratulations, Rahaf. Okay, why don't you all come up here and we'll try and get everybody's picture together. And the teacher, you're here? Yeah. Oh, you want to give your, you know what, Bill, can you take his camera and get a picture of everybody? Sure. Because you need to come up here too. And you're going to have to remind me of your name because tonight names just aren't working for me. Or do you want to say something?
These three did some amazing, incredible work this year. Rahaf is a junior, so she's got one more year in the engineering pathway. I'm not the teacher of the engineering pathway. But Abraham and Ben, this is their second year getting medals. That's why they're both wearing 2 right now. They won how much is it? About $40,000 scholarship to go to Universal Technical Institute to continue their training. Abe's already working in a shop. Ben will be there in about a year. So awesome kids. They've done a great job. She's still in school. She's got one more year with us at Santana. She's busy. She's an AP student and all that fun stuff. So, yeah, very good.
Yeah. I just want to say Mr. Sikora is a very great teacher. He's really created this program to something that, no other school has. And we wouldn't be doing stuff like this or earning awards like this without a teacher like him. He puts in a lot of work behind closed doors.
I just want to say thank you to Mr. Sikora for this opportunity. I wouldn't have had it if he didn't come forward for all the CTE technology pathways. And thank you to my parents who make things possible. And thank you to Mr. K and Mr. Pyle, the teachers of the engineering pathway, who without all their hard work, I wouldn't even be here. And the city of Santee. Thank you.
I want to thank Mr. Sikora too. He started this program from nothing and it's become so big and we've achieved so much through hard work and dedication. Thank you, Mr. Sikora.
I just want to say that I get involved in a lot of stuff where we talk about jobs. And the thing that I hear most often is there's not enough trained people, especially coming out of high school. And a lot of them even come out of junior college. So I know when you started this, it wasn't easy. But you did get some help, you got some funding, and I know that there's a lot of talk about bringing more funding to you if you didn't know that. And so now we have people that are getting jobs and people that will be getting jobs in the future and good jobs. And these aren't jobs that, where you're just hoping to make it from paycheck to paycheck. And so I want to say thank you very much for bringing that to the schools. And I want to say congratulations again to all of the recipients here. And I want to say especially thanks to the parents, because you know what? You have done such a great job bringing your kids into a position where they can do something great in the future. Not that they're not doing it now, but there's a lot more to come. Thank you.
Mayor, did you want?
Oh, I thought you already got on.
Well, yeah, mid-sentence. All right, I think that's good. Thank you. Welcome.
While everybody's going back to their seats there, I actually want to say something about Mr. Sikora, too. This guy, as the students stated, takes a lot of his personal time to dedicate to the kids. He's there after school. He's there for, he wears his heart on his sleeve. This last couple of times we've done the scholarships, I think I made him cry a couple of times. He really does love these kids and puts everything he has into this program. So thank you so much for bringing this to our community and being such a dedicated educator for the future. And in that, you are truly creating lifetime employment for some of these people that they desperately need. We need more people like you in our schools. So thank you very much for what you do, and thank you, kids, for being a part of it.
All right. But wait, there's more. And who's here from the Small Business Association? Come on up here. I apologize, but I didn't get your name either. So,
Mary Williams.
that's an easy one, Mary Williams. Let's give Mary a hand. All right, this is a proclamation this time. Yeah, do you have parents here? You want to take a picture?
I had my son here, my little baby, but
Not-
he has to go home. He's too hungry.
Okay, gotcha. All right, the proclamation, whereas since 1963, the President of the United States has issued a proclamation calling for the celebration of National Small Business Week to commemorate the achievements and contributions of small businesses nationwide. And whereas the U.S. Small Business Administration, also known as SBA, has announced National Small Business Week as of May 3 through May 9th, 2026, and whereas there are over 36 million small businesses nationwide that represent a vital segment of the business community and play a key role in invigorating the local and national economy. And whereas, according to the SBA, it is estimated that more than half of employed Americans either own or work for a small business, and they create about 2 out of every 3 new jobs in the United States every year. And whereas small business owners represent the cornerstone of every community by creating business opportunities and investment, stimulating job growth, and boosting the local economy. Now, therefore, I can say my name, John Minto, Mayor of the City of Santee, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim May 3 to May 9, 2026 as National Small Business Week in the City of Santee, and encourage citizens and community groups to celebrate and recognize the value of small businesses within our community and support these local small businesses throughout the year by shopping locally. Here you go with this proclamation, and I do have a small gift for you also. And this is, we want to make sure that you have something when you're out rolling around, you don't have your desk, that we have a little desk set here for you so that you'll be able to take notes and other things on the go.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I do have a little something to say. Is there any time for that? Sure.
No.
Just wanted to take the opportunity just to thank the City of Santee for this honor, especially you, Mayor. Also the rest of the City Council members. And I also did want to recognize Pam White for all the work that she's been doing supporting our local small business community, as well as the SBA and over the 100+ business advisors that we have at the SBDC. And so the SBDC, if you're not familiar, provides no-cost one-on-one business advising training events, and this work has been possible through the California Office of the Small Business Advocate, as well as the Governor's Office of the Small Business Economic Development Council. And so last year, we supported over 6,000 business owners, 900 training workshops were presented, and $260 million worth of new sales were obtained. So that's a ton of economic development. This honor is not for me, it's for obviously the businesses here. And then I just want to also honor the Santee Chamber of Commerce as well, bringing together women-owned businesses. So yeah, thank you for this honor, and pleasure to be here today.
All right, Devin, come on up here. So along with this, we also, what finish that conversation first? No, not a problem. We'll just wait here because, you know, you're getting the word. You're important. All right. So along with this annual, opportunity, we also like to award and recognize small businesses. And I know that you've had plenty of recognition already this year. And so this is what I want to say about your business. And what I want to present to you is the City of Santee Certificate of Recognition. This certificate is proudly presented to my friend, Devin Julian. 2026 California Small Business Person of the Year. In recognition, yeah, you can clap if you want. In recognition of National Small Business Week 2026, the City of Santee hereby celebrates and honors Devin Julian, owner of Village Pet and Feed, for being named 2026 California Small Business Person of the Year by the United States. That's the U.S., that's the big guys, right? Small Business Administration. And this is signed by me, and I also have a gift for you. So I'll do that, and then we can get pictures, and I'll have you say something. So this here is some little trinkets here from the city, so that when you're running around there and people see, you know, you got a koozie there, a bottle and stuff like that, so people know that you're definitely representing Santee, because that's the way to do it. So, but I want to say congratulations. We've known each other for what, about 4 years, maybe, maybe longer. And I've seen you come to Santee. You moved from North County, and you're here. And in the first year and a half or something like that, you get this kind of honor. Boy, that's great. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
So, say something.
Well, I think first and foremost, I got to give some gratitude. So that would be to my lovely wife and my children for all the sacrifices they've made. I've traveled up and down the state and really the country, opening up small businesses for others in a lot of different roles that I've had in my career. And coming back home to Santee was important to me to be part of this community and open up a business that was really community focused, along with my parents. So another shout out and debt of gratitude to my dad. He's there, every day. He took the leap of faith with me as well, and he's there working hard. My mom as well took the leap, and so a lot of gratitude to them, gratitude to the City of Santee and all their partnership, Santee Chamber of Commerce, Small Business Administration, the SBDC, all of the support that I've received from the community. I guess at the end of the day, that's what really makes small business work. And you mentioned I've been busy. I did fly to Washington, D.C. I was able to receive an award there for California Small Business of the Year and Small Business Person. And got to see the president speak, got to go to the White House. I never thought I would walk up to the front doors of the White House and be greeted by folks in full uniform, heavily badged, well-honored military folks saying, "Welcome to the White House," to a guy like me, a guy from Santee, born and raised, and graduated from West Hills of 05. And so it's been an honor. It's been very surreal, being in Washington, D.C. on the 250th year of our great country, and seeing folks speak about small business and how it's such a big part of all businesses in the U.S. and remembering what this country was founded on, which is small business owners, right? We're talking tradesmen, printers, farmers, all of that kind of stuff. And so I don't know, it's just really special to get it this year. And so I'll end with everybody here in the audience, which is a packed house for the City Council, as well as anybody that may be watching, to take a look at your monthly spending and take a look at where you're putting your dollars, because those dollars are really votes for your community members. Small businesses are the ones that are putting banners up at Little Leagues. They're the ones that are attending, all of the different great events that Santee puts on, the concerts, the Bunny Trail, the Fido Fest, all of that kind of stuff, and see if there's a place maybe where you're putting your dollars that could go towards a small business owner and towards the community. So, is there a pet store that you could go and buy dog food from, for example, or come and get your dog washed? Is there a coffee shop, maybe skip Starbucks and go to a local coffee shop? I know there's some great ones here in town. Restaurants, any of those purchases that you're maybe making that are on autopilot at Amazon or Chewy, or you're just going and using the Starbucks app always, just take a look at that and see if maybe you can support a small business that's also supporting your community and is getting out there. And appreciate it, Mayor. Appreciate the city of Santee, and it's a real honor for this certificate of recognition. Thank you.
And James keeps the hits on coming. I remember when I used to read this without glasses. All right, now this is Public Works Week. Who's coming down for that? Eric?
I guess there isn't anybody else.
The other bearded guy is already retired. Well, thanks for coming up. Thanks for being here. And this is a proclamation, and it says, whereas public works professionals provide essential services that support the health, safety, and well-being of our community every day. And whereas this year's theme is Rooted in Service, Powered by Community, highlights the deep commitment of public works professionals and their role in maintaining our community to be resilient and sustainable neighborhoods. Whereas these dedicated employees plan, build, maintain, and operate the infrastructure that allows our community to thrive, including roads, water systems, public buildings, parks, and emergency response systems. And whereas the public works employees are often the first to respond during emergencies, demonstrating professionalism, dedication, and a steadfast commitment to protecting our citizens and environment. And whereas it is important to recognize the contributions of public works professionals and to promote awareness, understanding, and appreciation of services they provide. Whereas the year 2026 marks the 66th annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association. Now, therefore, I, John Minto, Mayor of the City of Santee, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim May 17 through 23, 2026, as Public Works Week in the City of Santee, and encourage residents to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our health, safety, and quality of life as they advance quality of life for all.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, City Council. This is special because we have a fantastic team that serves the public, and also support from every other division in our great city. So very thankful to receive this tonight. Thank you. I'm honored.
I haven't read. I did go to high school, Ron, believe it or not. So full disclosure, doing this is like the most fun for me as the mayor because I get to recognize people and get to meet great students and kids and, and say thank you to our people that work for our city. That's very gratifying. So let's get on with business. How's that sound? Okay, let's say items to be added, deleted, or reordered on the consent agenda. Anybody?
I'd like to pull item 14.
Item 14. Okay.
None for me, please.
Do we have any speaker slips on the?
No, sir.
Okay. Rob, did you have anything?
None.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the calendar?
I have a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
And that's, of course, without item number
Correct.
14. All right, let's please vote. Okay, item 14.
Sorry, Mayor, motion carries unanimously.
Sorry about that. Item 14 is approval of assignment and assumption agreements for landscape and horticulture services, areas 2 and 3, between the City of Santee, Stephen Smith Landscape LLC, and Verde Property Services LLC, doing business as LeBon's Landscaping, Community Service Developer Services. Nick, do you have anything for us on that?
Thank you, Mayor. So back in October of 2023, Stephen Smith, a contractor that we all know that has been servicing the city for several years, struck a deal with Verde Property Services by means of stock purchase. However, the owner, Stephen Smith, remained a part of the organization and had an economic interest through this previous summer of 2025, which just recently ended. I believe roughly around August of 2024, Verde Property Services also acquired a LeBon's Group. That was another acquisition that they did around that time frame, which still allows them to operate under the licenses currently under Verde, which is a subsidiary of Stephen Smith. So here we are today to approve this item to give the authority to essentially move with this A&A agreement. But Verde Property Services is here just to explain a little bit more on how this process took place to make sure that everyone's comfortable approving this item.
Okay, do you want to speak to the item first? Because that way you might be able to answer your questions.
Well, that's only my first question, so if he wants to explain.
Sure, yeah, I'd be happy to thank you for having us, city mayor and council. I'm Dana Robinson. I'm a local attorney and entrepreneur myself and member of a small private equity fund that is homegrown here in San Diego as well. My partners and I put together an investment group that's made up of almost entirely San Diego natives, and we have acquired landscape companies as our effort to consolidate. And almost all of those have been from retiring landscape operators like Stephen Smith, like Mike LeBon's. And over the course of the last 3 years, we've grown from a $2 million a year revenue business to 90 across 3 states, but $40 million San Diego business that employs about 400 San Diegans. So we have a branch in Escondido, of all places, that services Santee. And that branch is Stephen Smith, who we acquired when Stephen wanted to retire. And it turns out that we have a branch on Cottonwood, we have a branch on Kinney, and yet we're bringing our team down from Escondido every day to service accounts in Santee. And we realized that was somewhat inefficient and that the Stephen Smith brand really should be retired along with Stephen. So we asked Santee, along with some of other municipalities, City of Escondido included, to allow us to just retire the Stephen Smith name, not have to carry 2 contractor's licenses, because under the state we have to carry a contractor's license for each DBA, and let us just begin operating as LeBon's Landscaping, which is a Santee-based landscaping company, and not have 2 sets of uniforms and 2 sets of trucks. And so we're here with that. Behind all of that has been a pretty complicated explanation that we've been back and forth with the city. I think city attorney might have worked on it as well, trying to explain the ins and outs of an F reorg and a wholly owned subsidiary of an LLC by a C Corp and whatnot. But I'm absolutely happy to get into any of the details that anybody might have about it.
Okay, thank you for that background. I pulled this item because, just so you know, and obviously Nick knows, I've been unhappy with the level of service we've been receiving under the landscape contract for many years. So obviously, I just always assumed it was Stephen Smith. So when or LeBon start doing the work in Santee?
2.5 years ago, I would say. We took over for Stephen Smith 2.5 years ago. When they renewed Area 1, it was taken in-house by the city, and we've retained the Area 2 and 3 since.
Okay. So yeah, the first question was around the timing. So I wanted to know, it was the contract, we awarded the contract in 2024, but it looked like Stephen Smith was acquired in 2023. So I was by your company, I think.
Yeah, I think there was a renewal in '24. So and Stephen Smith was still involved with us as the as our landscape contractor for the Stephen Smith division.
Okay, that's all that I would have for you. But maybe if you want to sit close by in case Nick, you have a question for.
Yeah, like I can say we are doing our best to honor the contract. We, in terms of consolidators of landscape companies, have taken an approach to honor all of the customers of businesses that we buy. We don't cut and run from contracts that we think aren't profitable. We're not playing what some people might view as a private equity game. I do know we have long rotations in Santee, which means that in 6 weeks, weeds grow. And I think when we had Area 1, there was probably some ability to bleed services over from the excess staff that we would have had. But, to be honest, when it rains, 6 weeks is enough time for weeds to get ahead of us. And to some extent, that is something we could address when we get to contract renewal. But, I think we honor the rotation map. I think we show up for you. And I do think that we do our best when somebody identifies something to be responsive to it, but with respect would welcome criticism. And
it's always an opportunity, right?
Yes.
To hear the feedback. So for me, I've talked about it a lot, the deficiencies on Mission Gorge and Carlton Hills Boulevard in particular. That happens to be my district, most of it. And according to the report, it says Carlton Hills is a level B site, meaning the minimum standard in this contract requires weekly supervisor inspections, debris removal twice a week, and that Mission Gorge is level A, requiring daily weed removal and daily litter pickup. How is that performance being documented by our staff? And obviously that's not happening. So how is that documented, and how are deficiencies reported?
So currently our public services manager, he was a Parks and Landscape supervisor beforehand. So for those general zones you just depicted, he would do 2 site visits on all of these LMDs and median areas. And essentially, if there's any discrepancies in the work that they promised, we would give a report to Stephen Smith, Le Bon Reverde, under that subsidiary. Oftentimes they would get to it. Oftentimes, they didn't have the ability to report to that area. They would probably come a week later, but they would always come within a reasonable time frame.
I would disagree with that right there.
What's that?
I would disagree with that statement right there. They don't. So if Mission Gorge is daily weed removal, I've driven by weeds on Mission Gorge that have been there for months. So, and even I understand the rain, and there seems to be a discrepancy in this between what they understand the contract to be and what the report says our contract actually is.
So in fairness, I have spoken to the CEO, and we've had communications over the past few months, if not the past 2 years, ever since the acquisition. Respectfully speaking, we have seen service just go down a little bit after that Stephen Smith acquisition, and we've had conversations. We've had very respectful conversations about possibly not renewing contracts, possibly terminating contracts if we don't see any mobility, towards a better product. And they've acknowledged it, and they've come back with, good service to some degree, but there are times that we have some issues with communications. So to your point, you are correct. Mission Gorge is an area that we have a lot of issues, and also Mast. But I will give them some benefit. They are relatively responsive, but we have seen lesser service ever since that acquisition took place with Stephen Smith. But the gentleman here does speak a good fact, because once we terminated Area 1, we weren't able to use those staff members to bleed into the medians and LMD. So there is some truth behind that statement.
So the staff report is incorrect when it says Mission Gorge Level A requiring daily weed removal. That's not accurate. We don't.
No, that's accurate. It's accurate to our code, but they may not have the ability due to staffing issues on their end.
Okay. It said, my third question, the assignment agreement before us includes a warranty from Stephen Smith Landscape stating there is no default, no notice of breach, and no dispute under the contract. if we accept the warranty tonight and we later document ongoing deficiencies that I've seen and I've reported, I mean, I'm just not comfortable with accepting what we have right now. So I'm not saying we shouldn't accept this, what was on consent tonight, but I don't know how many times I can talk about this. And I have to say, I was honestly surprised that the staff report said that some of these things were supposed to be done daily or even weekly, and it's been months. So are you saying there's no dispute underneath the contract right now? And you're 100% satisfied with how things have been performing?
No, there's been times where I have to reach out to the CEO and I express some distress regarding the state of some medians, but they're very responsive to that degree and they're able to get to that area within a reasonable time frame. But there are times where we have some heartaches regarding a lot of medians, so specifically Mission Gorge, Carlton, and Mass Boulevard, and I definitely agree with you on that.
Okay. And then I did read up on your company. So you own Stephen Smith, LeBon's, which I think we're all familiar with LeBon's. They've been involved in the East County Chamber for many years, and I didn't realize that Mike, the owner, had retired. It says Green Tech Land Care, Coast Landscaping, Juniper Landscape, and others across Southern California. And then it said the city of Santee is publicly listed as one of your key accounts. I am worried about so many landscape businesses under one umbrella, and how I think of this is we experience the same thing a little bit differently, but with street sweeping, where now there's not competitive bidding, and our street sweeping is subpar as well. So that's a concern for me. The proof will be in the pudding. If your LeBon's actually adheres to the contract as I understand it to be today, then things might change. But like I said, I'm not opposed to approving this tonight, but I think we need to go out for an RFP to get some competitive bids with landscape. And unless there's a substantial improvement, I want to see that anyway. I think we should. This wasn't a competitive bid process. This was just somebody buying up a landscaper that, frankly, I wasn't happy with. So I'd like to see that before, the negotiations happen.
Right. So absolutely, council member. Just for note, about a year and a half ago, we did go out to bid for areas 2 and 3, and the individuals you see before you were the only ones that submitted a bid. But
well, then that goes to my point of
Competition.
Yeah, competition. So I still think we need to do it again.
Absolutely.
And I know there's other landscape companies around. It's not as dire as it is for street sweeping. So
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to see a better result with the contract that we have as it reads today.
duly noted. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ron?
Can I just say a couple of words?
Sure.
Tom Havlin, CEO for Verity Property Services. Appreciate the comments. Thank you. The one thing, the name is changing. The one thing that hasn't changed, and I think Eric can speak to this, is the crews haven't changed. We still have the same supervisor, Felix Cazares. He's been there since, how many years, Eric? 20 plus years. So Eric Felix talks to Eric daily and drives the properties daily. So, the crews are still the same. We're going to move them down to Santee so they're closer. We'll have more on-site hours after we do that. And not looking for excuses, but in talking to Felix, whenever there's construction going on in these areas, which I think there is maybe on Mission Gorge Road, where you've got another service contractor in the area that's working, we're unable to work in that area. So those areas will get neglected until that other service contractor, if it's a paving contract or whatever, is done. So we've had instances where we've had to step off.
I understand that, and I'm very familiar with the construction you're talking about, but that overgeneralizes the problem. That has been a problem for many years. And I can tell you right now on the intersection on Carlton Hills Boulevard and Mission Gorge, there hasn't been construction for many, many, many years.
Okay.
So it's a problem, and I'd be happy to go around with anybody and show them through my eyes what I see, and I'm just hoping for improvement. And I'm glad you're here today to hear it. So, I mean, I've got the top, so
Fair enough.
it's great.
And thank you. We appreciate the feedback, and, we appreciate the opportunity to work with Eric. And just a shout out to Heather as well for really helping us bundle this up and package it to present here tonight. I want to thank her publicly, and Eric for his support and guidance with our teams. Thank you.
Don't go too far. Ron?
How often do you meet with our staff? What was the guy's name, Felix?
Felix.
Do they ever meet with us to go over these streets, or do they just go do their work and then go home?
I think he gets with you every morning, and you'll drive weekly, bi-weekly,
Okay.
the sites.
I know that in business, a lot of times, you look at things and you walk by that box that's been there for 6 months, and it becomes part of the furniture, and you don't see it. And what we need to do is maybe have people with new eyes walk by that box, and in this case, maybe Laura, and I'm willing to jump in too, to actually point out these problems that show up and look at them, because that's what happens. Is it becomes a piece of furniture, and it's the paint on the wall that's discolored. You just ignore it after a while because it's been there for 2 years, and that's just the way business is. And we need to kind of work on maybe that. So yes, they may talk every day, but they may drive it every day, but they're going, well, we got to work on this, and then it gets, into next week, and then next week, and next week, and next week. And I just want to make sure that we have maybe different people going out, talking together, and actually people that can really pick off things that are done. I know that with some of the streets, the brush actually blocks cars. So traffic, I see possible traffic accidents happening because the brush is so high, and I'm talking about the middle of the medium, and it shouldn't be no more than a foot as far as I'm concerned. But it looks pretty, as far as they're concerned. But I can't even look over the side and see if there's a car there or anything. So those are things that we need to look at, and we need to get other people maybe to look at them. I'm not saying Eric doesn't know what he's doing. I'm just saying that, again, it goes back to my first point. So we want to really kind of work on this kind of stuff. And if you're serious, let's be serious, and let's get it done.
Absolutely. Well, we've got our Senior Vice President of Operations right here, whom we just hired, so I'm glad that he's hearing it.
Yeah.
And he lives close by, just over the hill. So this is David Howell, came over to us from Brightview.
Yeah.
So,
Do you understand what I'm saying, David, on that? I mean, you go look at your own place when you walk in the office, and I guarantee you're going to find something in that office you're going, oh, wow, this has been here forever. It looks terrible.
Yeah, I do. I actually live in Lakeside, and I lived in Santee for many years, so I do spend all my money in Santee every weekend shopping, and so I've been getting my eyes on the medians and calling the team and say, let's get out there and take care of it. So I hear what you're saying, Laura. I've seen it myself, and I've been working with the team and jumping on it and working closely with them to take care of the high visible areas, and then we're going to focus on the rest. But we'll get back in track and make sure it's taken care of, because it's important for me when I drive through this city that I'm proud of where I shop, and I know that's certainly with everybody.
Is that it? Okay, your name, sir, didn't catch it.
Tom Haviland.
Oh, Tom. Okay, Tom. So here's what I have to say. It's kind of ironic, and this probably goes to staff, because I don't remember, maybe we were told, but I don't recall all of these changes between, Stephen Smith and Verde and LeBons and all that. We may have got a report on that. I just don't remember. But it's going to be important for us, if things like this happen in the future, to hear about that. So, and you said Mike LeBon retired? Oh.
Yes, 2 years ago.
Okay. So I have, let me just tell you my position and thoughts on landscape companies. And I could be 100% wrong with yours, okay? But I've dealt with landscape companies for a long time, not just with the city of Santee, but also in my homeowners association where I happened to be a president for a long time. And one of our very early on landscape companies was one called Le Bonds. And now Mike went through a lot of trouble and tribulation over the years, kind of lost the business for a while, came back to San Diego. And so I think everybody deserves to have another chance. But what I've learned over the years is that when a new landscape company takes over, boy, are they on it. They're diligent. They get to the tall weeds first and then start seeing what they can do after. And then after about 6 months to a year, we're right back to where we were before because you know what? It's not a priority anymore. And so what happens is that either Eric has to be all over Felix, and then we have to get Nick to get all over you guys if something that's not done. And I ride a bike, and so I'm many times impacted in the bicycle lane by, stuff growing into the bicycle lane. And man, I'm all over, it used to be Sam when he was here because he was the guy that was doing Eric's job. And so I just haven't called Eric because all that stuff got taken care of, but it's going to happen again, I know. And the thing is, though, that we shouldn't be getting complaints about the height and the width of landscaping, especially when it encroaches into the public right-of-way. It just so happens that there's a fella down on Prospect Avenue who's always complaining about the landscape across the street from him, and when is the city going to get out there and take it down? And he's not somebody satisfied with coming out there and hitting it with the whip, because you know what? They always leave all the debris on the ground and in the road and things of that nature. It just so happened that a few days ago he sent me another email complaining, and lo and behold, when I drove down to look at it the next morning, I saw Le Bon's Landscaping out there taking it down. And I'm going, when did they start working for the city? And so the bottom line is they're out there working. I've seen them work, and I didn't have to hear Chris again. You knew who I was talking about? Okay. And so that part I do appreciate. But I guess maybe what we need to have is a great meeting of the minds here and understand that council members and mayors should not have to be calling their staff and saying, where's the landscape company? Because we already, like you heard some of the comments from Council Member Koval, says this is a priority, has to be done every day. And we do understand, though, that especially when it gets rain and sometimes you can't get on things for a couple days because of the rain. But we expect it to happen right after. And that's our direction to you, Nick, is to make sure that these guys stay on it. And I'm not saying that in trying to make it sound derogatory, by the way. It's just that's the way business is done. So.
Agree 100%, Mayor.
Okay, well, thank you. And thanks for coming down here. And it's nice to dish it out for a change instead of taking it.
You're heard by the people that run the business, yeah. and we're acknowledging that.
By the way,
you can do better.
Drive by Bank of America and look at the medium there.
Okay. Okay. Rob, did you have any comments? We beat it up enough? Okay. All right, then. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Do we have any speaker slips on that item?
No, sir.
Thank you.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Prepare to vote, and please vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
You know, that's the second longest conversation we had about weeds.
We didn't have a workshop or 15.
Okay, that takes us to non-agenda public comment. Speaker slips.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, our first speaker is Keith Animo.
Thanks for your patience.
All good. Good to hear. Thank you. Hello, my name is Keith Onimo, and I live here in Santee. I'm here to talk about the dirt overflow parking lot that is due east of Town Center Community Park East, where the soccer fields are. I spoke here a few weeks ago about the dust clouds created on this property, which I believe are a health hazard for the neighboring communities. I believe that the situation has improved recently. We had a little rain that helped knock down the dust. A few events at the park used enough of the parking lot that no one could whip a donut in their truck without running into something. And a large part of it is likely due to the increased presence of the sheriff's department in and around the property. I am truly grateful for their efforts, and I do believe that it has made a noticeable difference. I also believe that increased patrols in and around the property are not a long-term solution. I believe that the environment of this overflow lot itself needs to change so that the frequent monitoring would no longer be necessary. Related to that, the County of San Diego owns the land that this overflow parking lot is on, and they are hosting an event to talk about this issue and potentially others that the community shows up to talk about. Here is their flyer. You are invited to attend Santee Community Meeting Town Center Park East, hosted by the Office of Supervisor Joel Anderson. Come to the community meeting at Town Center Park East to discuss the issues that are most important to you and your family with the Office of Supervisor Joel Anderson. My district staff will be on site to assist with any county-related issues. Santee Community Meeting, Saturday, May 23rd, 2026, 11 a.m. to noon. Town Center, Park East, the parking lot by the soccer fields. Stage in the parking lot, 550 Park Center Drive, Santee, California, 92071. I urge anyone from the community who has input or ideas for a solution to please show up and have your voice be heard. My personal favorite is dirt cheap and dirt simple because it's dirt. Well, technically it's partially composted mulch. Mulch and compost can hold moisture longer, the texture suppresses dust underneath it, and the lot can still be used as a parking lot. It's a deterrent to anyone doing donuts because half the draw is the big dust cloud that can be stirred up, and it's free, or at least as close to it as you're likely to get. I got the mulch and compost I put in my own backyard from a green program at a local landfill for free. And the best yet is that even if the lot only gets covered in mulch or compost once and never covered again, it will have changed the composition of the soil enough to at least dilute any silica content that may be there. That's it.
The next speaker is Carl Constantino.
Well, not that tall. Okay, so almost for about a year now, I've been bringing this up, both here at city council meetings as well as the Spark meetings, but for some reason the city doesn't seem to put any priority on these issues at Shadow Hill Park. I've given this information to both the city manager and the city attorney, and a copy to Ron, Councilman Hall, sorry. I'm at the park almost daily, and there's an issue with exposed edging on the trail that goes up and over. And I believe it's reached safety hazard and liability issue levels. I see kids running full bore down this trail all the time. You know how kids run, everything flailing. If one of them trips and falls on this exposed edging, it's going to rip them open and gut them like a catfish. They have pictures and it shows what it looks like. The edging also prevents water from naturally running off the trail. Instead, it causes the very ruts that expose the edging. There's an easy fix, and it's a fix I've been asking for a while. Take the edging out. Okay? It serves no purpose anymore. You spent $500,000 renovating the park, spend 2 hours removing the edging. I'll even help. Some other things, the graffiti at the top of the entrance ramp, which has been there since before the renovation, finally got cleaned up in the last day or two. It looks better, could be better. Eric tells me there's more they're going to do. They did a great job on the removing the graffiti at the base of the stairs. It looks great. Good job there. Eric and I met at the park to discuss the graffiti and the way they were taking it off back in mid-April. I also mentioned some other stuff, with the graffiti at the top of the ramp, and then there's some homeless camp remnants up off of the trail. I kind of thought that both of them would be addressed within the next week. The graffiti, yes. The homeless stuff, no. And it seems like this is the stuff that could be picked up by our daily or every other day, whatever the rate is, general maintenance that's supposed to be going on at the park. But I'm not seeing it happen. That's it.
Thanks, Carl.
The final speaker is Brenda Hammond.
Actually, before we get to that, Sean, aren't there issues with us just picking stuff up in encampments? That preclude us from being able to just do that and take it away without proper notifications?
Right. When there's a true encampment, we give 72 hours notice, and then we go in and clean it up. Now, if there's just random trash in an abandoned camp, that can be cleaned up without notice.
Okay.
So I don't know this particular situation.
I don't either.
Yeah.
There
are definitely rules that need to be followed, but there also is an ability to just pick up trash, basically. Yeah.
And if that's what it is, then yeah, it should be picked up.
That's right.
All right.
Hi. So I found the color that could go with the green and the yellow. How about orange? Which brought me to, I was in Santee to visit my friends at Sedano, and I stopped by to see, Park and Recreation to see if the everything's set for the concerts. And yes, I got to pick up some concert stuff because I love sharing that with other people in the county because they love to come to Santee as well. So I wanted to say that. And good for the kids at Santana High School. I mean, didn't I say that last time? The parents should be commended for raising such good kids because it seems to me like they treat the seniors very well. That's since I'm a senior now. Oh, God. So anyway, thank you.
All right, thank you. That will take us to, no, that's not the right item. Public hearing, item number 15. It's a public hearing on the adoption of the TransNet Local Street Improvement Program of projects for fiscal year 27 through 2021 to align the Regional Transportation Improvement Program, also known as RTIP, with the adopted Capital Improvement Program budget, and finding the action is not project subject to the California Environmental Quality Act. Brittany.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council members. I'm Brittany Gore, Senior Management Analyst with the Planning, Building, and Engineering Departments. This item brought before you is for the adoption of a resolution approving the TransNet Local Street Improvement Program of projects for fiscal years 27 through 2031. The Regional Transportation Improvement Program, also known as the RTIP, is a 5-year investment program managed by SANDAG, which is our Regional Transportation Planning Agency. The RTIP identifies projects included in the Regional Transportation Plan that are funded with either federal, state, or TransNet funds. TransNet is the half-cent sales tax collected and administered by SANDAG to fund local jurisdictions' transportation and roadway projects. SANDAG provides the jurisdictions with updated revenue estimates on an annual basis, and in accordance with the SANDAG TransNet ordinance, jurisdictions are then required to hold a public hearing and request approval each year of their TransNet funding allocations to their eligible CIP projects. The city has identified 2 projects eligible for TransNet funding, which includes the Pavement Repair and Rehabilitation Project and the Pavement Roadway Maintenance Project. The Pavement Repair and Rehabilitation Project includes major improvements, resurfacing, and overlays, while the Pavement Roadway Maintenance focuses on crack filling, slurry seals, and patching treatments to maintain existing pavements throughout the city. The city's other non-TransNet funded projects included in the RTIP are the traffic signal upgrades, smart traffic signals, broadband infrastructure improvements, and the turn lane modification at Mission Gorge Road and Town Center Parkway. SANDAG provides funding, updated TransNet revenue estimates each year, and local jurisdictions are then required to update funding allocations to their projects in the RTIP based on the revised revenue estimates. The City of Santee's revised TransNet revenue are shown here on this slide and represent about a 5.5% to 8.7% increase from last year's projections. These amounts are also the net proceeds after debt service payments for advanced funding the city received from the 2010 and 2014 TransNet bonds. Again, the projects eligible for TransNet funding include the pavement repair and rehabilitation and pavement roadway maintenance projects. Staff recommends that council conducts the public hearing and, following public testimony, adopt the resolution approving the TransNet Local Street Improvement Program of projects for fiscal years 27 through 2031 and authorize the appropriation of additional TransNet revenues to the applicable and eligible CIP project budgets. That concludes my presentation. I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Speaker slips? Thank you. Questions? Have a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Thank you.
Motion carries unanimously.
That takes us to item number 16, which is a public hearing and introduction and first reading of an amendment to an urgency ordinance of the City of Santee, California, enacting an essential housing program to boost housing production and improve housing affordability in order to achieve the goals set forth in the city's housing element 6 cycle 2021 through 29, and determining the amendment exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act. Maddie.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council members. My name is Madeline Matson, and I'm the Principal Planner with the Planning and Building Department. The item before you this evening is an amendment to the Essential Housing Ordinance. Urgency Ordinance number 592, adopted on August 25th, 2021, established the City of Santee's Essential Housing Program. The program allows certain residential housing projects that meet specific criteria to be determined essential housing projects. Such a project would be deemed in compliance with the city's general plan and therefore not subject to general plan and zone-based district amendments in order to move forward with entitlements. 3 projects have approved applications under this program: Vanita Ranch, which has been approved but not yet built, The Exchange, which has been approved but not yet built, and Townsend, which is currently under construction. The ordinance is currently set to expire on August 25th, 2026. To continue supporting housing production, the city is proposing to amend the ordinance by extending the program for an additional 3 years, establishing a new expiration date of June 30th, 2029. This amendment aligns with the time frame of the city's adopted housing element and corresponding regional housing needs assessment allocation period, ensuring consistency between the city's regulatory framework and its state-mandated housing planning obligations. Therefore, staff recommends that City Council introduce and conduct the first reading of the amendment to Urgency Ordinance 592 and set and conduct the second reading of the amendment for May 27th, 2026. This concludes staff's presentation, and I'm available for any questions.
Any speaker slips?
No, sir.
Questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Please prepare to vote. Good job. Good.
Motion carries unanimously.
Got this thing down, huh? Okay, this is going to take us to continued business. Item number 17, which is approve the First Amendment to the Memorandum of Understanding with the San Diego County Sheriff's Office for the Sheriff's Safe Street Santee program. Nicholas.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Council members. The purpose of this item is to amend the Safe Santee MOU between the city and the Sheriff's Department to install 17 new surveillance cameras within parks in our trailway system. A little bit of background before we dive into the subject matter. April of 2022, City and Sheriff entered into an MOU to authorize a video sharing program known as Safe Santee. Allows residents and businesses to voluntarily share content from personal cameras that are already recording. So you may ask, how does someone in the general public or a business owner or individual that owns a home here in Santee inquire about this? They go on safesantee.com. They go ahead and register their recording device for their home or their business. And that's essentially it at that point. So in the event that there's crime or unfortunate activity, illegal activity that takes place near your business or home, the sheriff then has the opportunity to reach out to this resident on a voluntarily basis and essentially ask if they could voluntarily, keyword voluntarily, provide their recording so they could aid them in their overall investigation. I do want to mention that by signing up to Safe Santee, this does not constitute or give the sheriff the ability to tap into your recording device at your business or home, without any authorization. So it's a voluntary program. The sheriffs will reach out to you if there's any crime or unsavory activities that take place near your home, so they could utilize that information for their investigation purposes. Not related to Safe Santee, but I thought it'd be worth mentioning. Around the time frame of April of 2022, the sheriff also went ahead and put in a few cameras at some of our busy intersections. A few years moving forward, after April of 2022, the sheriff notified the city that they would like to begin recording and storing video on these 5 intersection cameras to increase the ability to investigate and address crime. Next slide. So now the primary focus why I'm here today is to essentially propose to do an amendment to the Safe Santee program to include 17 new cameras on the sections here noted before you. As you can see, there's a plethora of parks, and there's some cameras that we're going to put on our trailway systems as well. A few noteworthy concepts to add as a result of the MOU negotiation is that the city will fund the purchase of the cameras, with the Sheriff's Department installing and continuing to be responsible for the administration, operation, and maintenance of the Safe Santee program. So I do want to clarify that the city will provide funding to the Sheriff's Department for the installation of these cameras. They are to be maintained. If they are deficient, the Sheriff's Department will repair them. They will manage all the California Public Records Act initiatives that happen as a result of it. The city is essentially just providing the capital for the installation of these cameras, and also to purchase, not the installation, just essentially to buy the mechanisms to create the cameras to install. There is capital in this fiscal year, capital improvement program for this program, and there will also be capital in the upcoming fiscal year to add additional cameras on top of the 17 that we plan to install this fiscal year. We also took this time to go ahead and do an amendment to an amendment that will extend the MOU an additional 5 years that will go through June 30th of 2032. Next slide. So not related to this topic, but there's some relation. Staff is coming forward at the May 27th City Council meeting to talk about preliminary policy discussions regarding LPRs, which are license plate reader cameras. So this will be coming to you guys for a policy discussion on the 27th of May. So the staff recommendation on the table is to approve the First Amendment of the MOU with the San Diego Sheriff's Office, authorizing the city manager to execute all necessary documents on behalf of the city. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Speaker slips?
We do have one speaker slip submitted before the item from Tony Renna, and then if you choose to engage, there was a late speaker slip from Brenda Hammond that was received after the item started.
We'll take Tony. Sorry, Brenda, but you have to submit. Okay.
Good evening, City Council, Mr. Mayor, staff.
Good to see you, Tony.
I'm speaking in several perspectives in support of the cameras. First, as a Santee Spark member. Second, as a Santee AYSO youth soccer referee. And third, as a board member of the Santee Autumnwood Homeowners Association. Autumnwood backs up to Mission Creek, the Mission Creek Trail, where they're proposing to put one of the cameras back there. And we need a camera back there. We just lived through the fire in March back there over by Walmart. And we personally were evacuated at that point in time, and we need to keep an eye on the riffraff back there and help the sheriff identify who's doing that. Additionally, we've got the helicopters coming over frequently across through the riverbed in Mission Creek, as well as Mask Park, and we need to give the sheriff the tools they need to identify the riffraff there. Additionally, Town Center Park, where I referee on Saturday mornings. Over the years, we've had vehicles go up there and tear up the turf that you guys are trying to help us rehabilitate and make very nice. Additionally, I walk the fields in the morning on Saturday mornings, and I found syringes out there. We need to get a camera out there to help the sheriff out. So I support this, and I hope you will vote yes on this matter, and thank you for allowing me to speak.
Good to see you. Any comments or questions?
Yeah, I'll make comments. I've been pushing for this probably since I've got on city council. It's about time. I'm happy about it. I know there's some people in the public that are adamantly against cameras for any reason whatsoever, and I understand that perspective. But the reality is we can't have, we just have too much going on, and we frankly just can't afford the deputies to be everywhere all the time. And they're being stretched so very thin as it is. This provides them another tool in their utility belt to help apprehend and maybe even keep others from doing bad deeds. It's a great tool. I hope that if these aren't the kind that I've been talking about for years, that we get to that point very soon where they have, from their vehicles, they have live interaction with the cameras and they can see from their vehicles. I know that those do exist because I've heard it from other deputies in other jurisdictions that they do exist. So it just helps them, again, if they get a call of somebody doing something wrong on a trail somewhere, they can dial into these different cameras from their vehicle and know that they're heading in the right direction and get a better idea of who it is that they're looking for. Because unfortunately, our eyes lie to us quite often. And when it's something, especially when you're frantic and you're scared, it was a 6'4" person with black pants when it was a 5'7" person with blue pants. It's just the way it is. But when they catch it on camera, they know who it is. They've got a picture, and they can react in a much more timely fashion. Thank you very much for finally bringing this to fruition. I definitely don't want to see these be the only ones, especially on our trails, as we extend the trails, and we want that beautiful trail from the mountains to the sea. Our section, I want to make sure that is a safe trail from the mountain to, the river, I guess. There's only one way to make that happen. We can't have patrols 24/7 on the trails. It's even more difficult for the deputies to do that on the trail system. So having these is a huge help to ensuring some safety for those that want to utilize these beautiful trails in the city of Santee. So thank you very much. And I definitely support this. So I'll make that motion, by the way.
I'll second the motion, and I'm 6'2" with black pants, not 6'4".
Who's 5'7"?
I thought the suspect was about 5'7", dark hair, a beige jacket and jeans.
I think all of us on council have been looking forward to this, and obviously we funded through the budget process. I did have a question. Since Tony Renna seems to know where one of the cameras will be, is that public knowledge? Will there be signs posted? How does that work? Can't hear you.
Yes, it will be public knowledge. We want to work with the sheriff's department to put proper signage to where are these cameras going to be located. And I also have a map here to delineate where the sections will be as well. We're going to be installing these cameras on light poles predominantly.
On your screen.
I see it. So I'm just double checking. It would be great for something like this to be in the agenda report when we get it. It wasn't in the agenda report, was it?
No, ma'am, it was not in the agenda
Okay.
report.
Just so we can see it and have some time to digest it. And I actually need my readers to see where these are at. But if you wouldn't mind emailing this to me after the
Yes.
meeting, and then we can take a, I mean, obviously I'm seconding the motion, so I support it, but I'd just like to know where the cameras are going to be.
I do have one more question then. Captain, were you involved in the placement of these cameras as far as advising the highest and best use of them?
Our team was consulted. This was before I got here, but my predecessor
enough.
in the station was consulted for the strategic placement of these cameras. And this is in addition to the already 3 cameras that we have.
Fair. Okay, so you were consulted. Your office was consulted.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Where are the cameras that we already have?
They're at the major intersections, so
In the streets?
On the street, yes,
Okay.
at the major intersections.
There you go.
Can you go back to the map?
Can you go back to the map? I put my glasses on. Look. And out of curiosity, why isn't there anything on Mass Park West?
The nearest one we have to Mass Park West, that is in the overflow lot. That's essentially the nearest one we have to Mass Park West, but we plan to put more this upcoming fiscal year. That was the one location that we consulted with the previous captain, and also the fire chief was also part of those discussions as well.
I was just wondering if it was an infrastructure issue, because definitely fires happen more frequently.
So it may be a little tricky with infrastructure because there's a lot of relatively large trees in there. So we might have to insert a pole in one of the primary access points at Mass Park West. But it's something we could definitely look into, council member.
Okay. And I'm glad to see Olive Lane Prospect on there. That's definitely a
Yes,
patrol
ma'am.
spot as well.
Do you have something, Ron?
Yeah, at the Walker Preserve, we just have it at the beginning. We don't have any down the trail, because that kind of gets a little scary sometimes.
No, it'd be a good idea to put one at the exterior, at the end part as well. So we just have one stationed at the beginning portions of the trailhead.
Now, I know it goes into Lakeside. Is Lakeside doing is county doing anything that you're aware of?
The county does have some Safe Street cameras. They're limited. I do not believe they have one at that end of Walker Trail. What the county areas have more focused on are the license plate reader cameras that they've implemented countywide. The Safe Streets are more for the cities.
Okay. Well.
Oh, maybe at that county meeting.
Yeah, that's right. We
Brought
can
up,
talk
you could
about
bring that up to the county.
Carl, and you see that they're going to put one at Shadow Hill, which I think is a good idea, because there we had the graffiti there, so maybe we can at least identify people with the graffiti at that point. If they come back, hopefully they won't come back. But yeah, I like it. I would like to see a little bit more expanded if we could in the future, but it's the way it is today. I mean, I've said this before, I have 8 at my house, Ring cameras. So it's, I had a whole bunch of my business before that. So it's something that I'm definitely in favor of.
You had 8? Does this paranoid come to mind?
No, I had them at my mother's house, and I had them extra. I thought I might as well put them up.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Let's go ahead and prepare to vote. And let's vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, that takes us to item number 18, approval of the City of Santee legislative platform. City manager. Oh, actually, Bill's going to do this. That's right. I forgot.
I could make comments, but Bill's giving the presentation.
Yeah, I should have known when you stepped up to the microphone.
Well, and from this morning to, anyway. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor Hall, and City Council members. I'm Bill Crane with the City Manager's Department. This item is regarding the City Council's approval of a legislative platform. The presentation of this legislative platform is a result of the direction provided during the City Attorney's report in the February 11th meeting on the topic of new laws enacted in 2025 that are relevant to Santee. So a legislative platform is a formally adopted document outlining an organization or government entity's key policy priorities, goals, and positions on proposed legislation. It acts as a guide for lobbying efforts and a framework for taking official positions on state and federal issues, streamlining the advocacy process. An approved legislative platform would allow the city to take positions on pending legislation without having to bring each position to the City Council for approval, which can be time-consuming, and in the case of an upcoming policy committee hearing, could be too late. Every year, there are a number of bills before the state legislature and U.S. Congress which could impact local governments. Adopting a legislative platform would provide a framework to support legislation which aligns with the council's goals, including consistently advocating for local control and reduced regulation of local agencies while opposing measures that could reduce the city's authority or impose greater requirements on local government, such as unfunded mandates. And I would like to note that I would speculate for the most part that any letter writing we would do would be for state legislation, as you can imagine. This slide shows some examples of the positions included in the draft legislative platform. Primarily, the objective of the legislative platform would be to oppose legislation that would reduce local control and/or local funding sources. The platform would also include topics like unfunded mandates, economic development, land use and zoning, to name a few. The proposed legislative platform broadly covers the areas listed on this slide, and it's the intent of the legislative platform is to cover all areas of city government broadly in a fairly simple format, and not to create a lengthy document that covers potential positions on every possible minor issue or topic. Some cities have platforms that are dozens of pages long. So this is kind of how the process would work. Notified of pending legislation and an upcoming significant date. That could come from our rep with the league. It could come from a department head to the city manager's office. Could come from one of you, from something you heard somewhere about an upcoming legislation. And then the positions on pending legislation consistent with the legislative platform would be reviewed and approved by the mayor or city manager. In most cases, legislative positions and lobbying letters would be approved by and signed by the mayor. Position approval will most likely be taken by the mayor, essentially signing the letter that he is, in most cases, going to be emailed. Position letters deemed time-sensitive, highly consistent with the legislative platform, or when the mayor is unavailable, may be approved and signed by the city manager. That would be, for example, if there was a legislative hearing the next day or so, and there wasn't enough time to route the signature. And so approved position letters would be sent to the bill's author, the city's legislative advocate, and others as deemed appropriate by staff. Copy of the position letter would also be distributed to the city council. So with that, staff recommends the city council approve the proposed legislation. This concludes my report, and I'm available to answer any questions that you may have.
Thanks, Bill. We do not have any speaker slips. Council comments or questions?
Can I add something on first? Sure. Just to be clear, I don't have an intention to go crazy with legislation, but I think this would provide a broad tool to us that we usually get very little notice from the League of Cities and Towns. We'll hear from our San Diego representative generally about really bad legislation that's going to be heard within the next couple of days. So I don't envision that this would be used all the time, that we're going to start cranking out tons and tons of letters. But if there's something that's really impactful to local control and to us, we would like the ability to be able to react to that.
Great. Ron?
Yeah. This kind of worries me because it just kind of hit me right now, basically. At first, I didn't have a problem with it, but it comes down to the fact that if we have, and I don't want to put it wrong, but if we have kind of a mayor that isn't in agreement with the council, could they just take that and sign it off and say, here it is, and the council doesn't agree? I'm not saying you would do that, of course.
Well, let me give you, if I can just put it a little more context. We've really kind of been doing this for a very long time, and
I know we have.
well, but the fact that we will memorialize it helps.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'll get a message from Sacramento talking about a bill that was just gutted and amended that is really bad because it will take away our ability to have local control on a variety of issues. Or it may create an unfunded mandate for us, and the list goes on. We don't really have a opportunity to bring it to council, special meetings, a workshop, or anything like that. And so what's important, though, is that as your mayor, and you're right about, you never know whoever might sit in this center seat in the future where they would be on a lot of things. But at this point in time, we are pretty much always in an agreement on almost every bad piece of legislation that comes out. And but there's also times when, for instance, the League of California Cities, because they're one of the biggest drivers of this, looking at legislation, they will support things that we do not support on this council. And therefore, I make the decision, we are not going to send a letter to whatever representative and speak in favor of something that we know is going to hurt us. But because we're very conservative here, if I can say that. And in many other areas of the state, they're not very conservative, and they don't always see the unintended consequence of what happens with legislation. So I take it a very important role to make sure that whatever's coming down, we look at it, research it, I understand it, and then act.
Well, you've done that already, so.
Right, and so the whole idea, though, is that as we go forward, whoever sits in the center seat, whichever in 5 years, 10 years, whatever council members sit here, that they understand and have an agreement, a gentleman's and a gentlelady's agreement, that they will conduct business the way it was meant to be. Keep in mind, you can always change this legislative platform.
And that's where my thought is, do we want to sunset this if necessary?
I don't think, personally, I don't think a sunset is necessary because it's a policy, so you can stop a policy anytime without going to any great deal. Is that correct, Sean?
Yes, Mayor, and that's what I was going to interject with the Vice Mayor is that, I mean, you're retaining all of your authority. Basically, you're going to get copies of any positions that are sent, as was just said, and the policy requires. But if you want to change it, you change it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and the reason why having the city manager have that ability to sign is because I might be out of town or something, and I'll just tell, and in the past, I've just had the city manager, okay, author that letter, let me see it, and then you sign it and send it off. But I always look at it before it goes anywhere.
Right.
So.
And I guess we could go back and reverse it if we wanted to, even though it's already gone to the.
I mean, honestly, that's the other thing, right, is you can always, it would be awkward, of course. You don't want to do that. But again, this is really just a way to sort of formalize, as the mayor said, what sort of has been happening. It's much better to have it in a legislative platform like you have here, but you're retaining all of your control.
And I completely agree with that too. So.
Rob?
Yeah, I'm in support of this in a very focused manner. I mean, literally just the couple of items that were mentioned when it comes to unfunded mandates, limiting city rights at the state, federal, and even county level, those types of things. Anything outside of that focus, I'm adamantly opposed to it because I don't think that any one person should be involved in that, little pet projects or something of that nature. But when it comes to those types of things that take away or demean the authorization or the ability that a city has to operate somewhat autonomously, then we should be fighting those types of things at every level, at every time. And whatever way makes that happen faster, I'm in support of that. But like I said, on a very, very narrow focus. And yes, and I do agree that the entire council should be copied on everything prior to anyone signing anything.
Well, that probably is not going to happen.
Well, then it shouldn't happen. I mean, you should copy us. If you're going to get a letter, if someone's getting a letter to you, they can get a letter to the rest of us. Whether we read it or not is an entirely different situation. But if it goes to you, it should go to us. You have no more authority in that manner than any of us do. So anything that you get, we should get as policy. And then you are the figurehead. You are the one that will sign that letter, and it will be your pen at the end. But we should all get that letter.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but you made a comment before I signed a letter. And the thing is, though, there's not going to be time for all this council to get a letter, see the letter, and then.
I disagree. Well, I disagree. I mean, if you're going to get a letter, you're going to get. Again, if something's going to you, then it could go to everybody.
So is the intention then for the council to say yes or no whether that should be signed?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it should be sent to all of us.
Okay.
I mean, you're going to still sign it, but it should be. We should all be copied on it at the same time you are.
Well, the thing is, though, to me, it sounded like you wanted to see it before I sign it so that you can weigh in on whether it should be signed or not.
If there's something and this may never happen, God willing, it'll never happen, that we would agree it's something so much that we'd be like, heck no. But the reality is that it could happen. Again, we don't know who's sitting in what seat at any given time. So the ability to take a look at it. And if we're all getting it at the same time, I can make a phone call to you. I can always call you and say, hey, John, come on. Or, get this thing done faster, or whatever the case may be. But it gives us the ability to know what's going on rather than ask what just went on.
And since it's a new program, certainly CCing all of you when the letter is drafted so you can see when and what is being drafted and what the legislation is.
No, I don't. Probably not.
What was that?
Yes. Are we doing that now?
You kind of do it now, I think.
No, we're not.
No. Well, I agree with it's a simple legislative platform, which I appreciate. It's very straightforward. It definitely speaks to probably all of us on the council. I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think we all agree with everything laid out here, and it's not a lot. It's just, we want to maintain local control, and these are the areas where we want to maintain local control and don't put unfunded mandates on us. So that's great. I like the idea of being copied just because I like to be informed.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that I would, as long as it's in this right here, there is no reason for me to ever say no to or don't sign this. For me, it's just more of I want information and know what's going on. I do think that, when other cities have something like this in place and are able to move quickly, then it gives it's a bigger community of voices being heard in Sacramento. So it's important to be able to do this. It's important for us to be informed, and I appreciate that. Are we supposed to make a motion and a second and all that? Has a motion been made? Did you make a motion? I'll make a motion. Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Great. Anything else? Okay.
Staff heard me. All right.
Councilwoman Kowal, would you lock in your vote? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. And that takes us to new business. And that's a resolution awarding the construction contract to Hazard Construction Engineering, LLC, for the citywide pavement repair and rehabilitation program 2026, CIP 2026 through 01. a project and determining the project is categorically exempt from the environmental review under the California Environmental Quality Act. Steve.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of the City Council. Excuse me. My name is Stephen Miller, Principal Engineer with the Engineering Department. Tonight, staff is before you with the award of the construction contract for the Citywide Pavement Repair and Rehabilitation Program 2026. It's CIP 2026-01. The Citywide Pavement Repair and Rehab Program, this is our pavement resurfacing program that does the heaviest type of work for essentially the worst graded streets. We do edge grinds, overlays, large-scale patching, full-depth reconstructions on streets, and it's one of the most costliest repairs that we have for streets. On April 28th, 2026, the city clerk received 11 bids. That was really good news. Typically for projects like this, we get about 5 to 8 bids, but our understanding is in LA County, they're starting to have a lot less paving contracts. And so we see hunger in the market, and so we had a lot of good bids come in. The lowest responsive and responsible bidder was submitted by Hazard Construction Engineering in the amount of $1,852,882. That turns out to be 42% lower than our engineer's estimate. And I kind of wanted to speak to that is with a project that has a tremendous amount of asphalt tonnage on it, and with essentially the war in Iran, we had to kind of look at it and forecast with a crystal ball where we thought oil markets were going to jump to. And so we did inflator factors on our bids to try to ensure that we had that covered so that while we're out to bid, we could get prices and bids that we could come back to council that we could award with the budget that we had. Fortunately, that market has not adjusted the asphalt index yet. We do foresee it changing in the future as some of the costs are going to increase. In our conversations with some of the asphalt plants, they have long-term contracts that are probably going to tip in the next couple months just to go up. But fortunately, they didn't have those hikes. We didn't see it. We are recommending that City Council award this construction contract to Hazard Construction Engineering. And staff is recommending City Council authorize change orders in amount not to exceed $463,220. That's 25% of the contract amount, the maximum amount permitted under the Public Contract Code for us to get out and get more streets done. Additional work would include the resurfacing of additional streets in residential zone AB that was not able to be completed entirely with the original contract. Here I want to go over the bids results that we received. So the engineer's estimate was at approximately $3.2 million, our low bid of $1.8 million with Hazard Construction. We had a lot of tight bids between the lowest of the 5 bidders, which was really good to see. We're kind of proud when we can see our bids coming in really tight. We feel that with our bids, we provided the right information to the contractors to understand what was going on in the bid, and very happy with these types of bid results. The street list here is the individual streets in the residential zone AG. That's Button Street, Darrell Road, Lake Country Drive, Lake Hill Road, Les Road, Pennywood Road, and Tree Street. A lot of these streets have been in horrible condition. Our department has been notified about these streets for frankly a few years of how bad they are. Also included in here is Cuyamaca Street. This was a street that was discussed at January in our pavement management workshop. This is going to include a grind and overlay from River Park Drive north up to Mass Boulevard. And with this segment, this is going to allow us to really complete a large segment of Cuyamaca Street over the last couple fiscal years from the southern city limits north up to Mast to really get us cleaning this area up. It's in our town center area. We have a tremendous amount of traffic, and we're really looking forward to getting this one completed. Also included is residential zone AB. This is kind of northwest of Santee Lakes and Mass Boulevard. It includes Dunedin Court, Grass Valley Lane, and Williams Court. These are not all of the streets in that residential zone. These are just the ones that required full reconstruction and patching. Here's a project map outlining the project streets. You can see where we have Cuyamaca Street outlined out, Zone AG, and then Dunedin Court, Grass Valley Lane, and Williams, which is in the residential zone AB. With the change order authorization that we're requesting, we want to really try to complete entire residential zones at a time when we can. So residential zone AB, we would be adding in with the change order authorization, reconstructions of Annandale Way, Griffith Park Way, St. Andrews Drive, and Wigwam Court. The remainder streets in this neighborhood are included right now, which is in our contract out to bid for our citywide roadway maintenance program. Those bids are going to close in 2 weeks. Those remaining streets in that area primarily include slurry seals and Cape seals. With the remaining budget, since we had outstanding bid results, we were recommending to potentially move forward with the resurfacing of Carlton Oaks Drive from Fanita Parkway to Carlton Hills Boulevard. This was a street that was on the City Council priority list in the past. The main reason we were focusing on this is this street, we would get in with the current contract that we have out for bid, which is pavement roadway maintenance, which is a chip seal. That's the exact work type that's designated for that street. We have already prepared an addendum to go out for that contract. It's ready, and with your concurrence to do that, we would administer that addendum on that contract tomorrow. And the goal on that is to try to get streets like this included with our current contract out for bid before we see what we think will be asphalt prices and construction prices having a very large jump in the upcoming months. And with that, staff's recommendation, City Council award the construction contract for the citywide pavement repair and rehabilitation program to Hazard Construction in the amount of $1,852,882.98, authorizing the city manager to execute all necessary documents and authorizing the director of engineering, city engineer, to approve change orders in amount not to exceed $463,222, and determining this action is categorically exempt from the CEQA guidelines pursuant to Section 15301 existing facilities. And with that, I'm available for any questions that you may have.
Thanks, Steve. We do not have any public speakers.
Move staff recommendation.
I have a motion and a second. Ron?
I'll second it. I did pull the stats for it, and District 1, District 2 are way below the percentage that I think we need to be. In my case, it's 62%. Actually, I guess District 1 is. And you're working on 66% for the District 4. Will this take them over 70? And when are we going to plan on working on District 2 as being over 70?
For getting the PCI up to
Yes.
above a 70, I think we're going to see with this current contract, especially in District 2, with the reconstructions of Mass Boulevard, it's a large square footage of pavement. We're going to see a substantial jump in there. Again, in District 4, we'll have an increase in District 3.
Okay. Yeah, it needs to be done. I'm not saying that. I just want to make sure that we're kind of not looking at one side of the city over the other. And this, when you look at the map, looks like you're looking at one side of the city over the other. Cuyamaca has got to be done, though, and I'm fully, and I know we're going to be doing Mass, so that's great, too. I mean, it's driving me nuts driving down that thing.
Yeah. And I do want to note on when it comes to the residential zones, we're primarily following the pavement management reports and its recommendations. They don't really follow by districts. It's more of the overall pavement condition score. We aim for a percentage of reconstruction work each year and preventative maintenance work.
And again, drive down Braverman and tell me it doesn't need to be repaved.
I drive that road every night when I go home. Okay, I am aware of Braverman Drive. In speaking with Toby Espinola, who manages this contract specifically, the Braverman neighborhood and sections in it are coming up in the next 2 to 3 years on our pavement management program that's recommended.
They're not as understanding as you guys are with the 2 to 3 years.
So my question, I voted. I didn't turn on my mic. I got it. Okay, so there's still, you did 25% contingency, but still there's even like $220-something thousand in the difference between the engineer's estimate, I guess the allocated dollars, and the lowest responsive bid.
When we're including what we would recommend for Carlton Oaks, Correct. So that's available fund balance that can roll over potentially, and for the next contract we come for award for citywide roadway maintenance, we would have that available budget.
So would you just, based on what's happening tonight, you would roll that money into this new, and then have you identified additional streets besides
So
Carlton Oaks?
we have a laundry list of streets. Our goal is to try to get down the list of what City Council has given as priority streets. Knowing we have a 200,000-ish delta that's floating out there.
Yeah.
Some of the remaining City Council priority streets that might fall in that area. Northcote Road from Woodside Avenue to Canyon Park Terrace, that was about a $375,000 cost. We would definitely look at that.
Okay.
Additionally, we have, it's a small residential zone, FG, it's near Black Horse Estates. It's really two streets. That had a cost about $400,000 for an overlay. Those would be potential ones we could come back once we get the bid results in 2 weeks. And if, hopefully we have savings on that contract. And then where we could come back with maybe a potential additional savings of if 400 or 500 and recommend that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just very curious where that money would go, what you've planned for it since it's extra.
Yeah, our number one goal is obviously we make sure that the funding that we're using for SB1, RMRA funds, and TransNet, that those streets are following the guidelines of the program streets that we have through the RTIP, like what the action tonight. And then also trying to get down the priority streets that we have. And then it's kind of a fill in the blanks game of what we have. But if I'm hearing correctly, if City Council's desire is to still try to whittle down on your priority street list, that's, we feel, would be a good way to go to.
Okay.
And so that would basically put Northcote Road in Zone FG is what we would really be looking at. So when we come back with bids, we could, wherever the money is at, is recommend either or of what we could get when we come back.
Okay. And one of the comments I made when this came before us last time was that I would like to see, some of the District 2 and 4 come up above 70. And so I did look into the Braverman area. I didn't know you lived there. But it has a really low rating as well. And I wrote down the street. So, but I'm sure you're aware of there's about 4 or 5 in that area that could be done according to the estimates for under $240,000. So I don't know which one's better, which one's worse.
So the hard thing, and is one standing before and everyone watching this, is when you're looking at determining what streets to do.
Mm-hmm.
Braverman Drive, more specifically, it's a residential collector. It's not a collector like Carlton Oaks that takes larger volume.
Right.
So we try to do those with the adjoining streets, because the last thing we want to do is go completely reconstruct a Braverman Drive, and then 2 years later we're bringing in 400 or 500 dump truck loads of asphalt, bringing that traffic over it, and then those residents go, hey, the striping shot, or
okay.
But technically, we did that because one side of Braverman looks really good.
So that's a funny one that always comes up on Braverman. Was we had completed, it was around 2009, 2010, a full asphalt overlays in that entire neighborhood. It was, I think, the first residential neighborhoods that we used rubberized asphalt for. Rubberized asphalt, it's produced in a manner that's called gap graded. It has a little more voids in it. It's a lot quieter. People like it. You're using recycled rubber. What we're finding is it does fantastic, and then when it's not, it just plummets. And so we've kind of focused away from the use of gap graded rubberized mixes on our overlays. I'm not saying it's a bad mix or a product, but that type of product, it's better if you're an agency that can follow up and have the budgets to slurry seal at year 7 right behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we're not that city. Most other cities aren't. And so we've moved back more to conventional asphalt overlays. They're denser. It's harder to get water in it. You don't get it fracking and blowing out. To answer your question, Councilmember Holland, on Braverman, why it's half paved, we've sent all of our notices to all the utilities in advance of our work. We did that. And then AT&T had to come in and run new fiber packets. So they came in and trenched through that half of the street about a year later, and it was unacceptable. So what we did is our trench restoration requirements, we go either full width of a street or at least half lane. So we did the half lane. That pavement is a different rubberized mix than what's there, and you're seeing how that performs better. So for a lot of people who see it and they go, why did Santee only pave half a street? It was at the time we had moved away from that rubberized asphalt material, and that's a classic example of why we've moved away from that material, because it's degrading, but nowhere near the condition as across the street.
And when I'm reading a report, and I don't drive Braverman every day, just every once in a blue moon, it's important for someone like me to hear that, because I'm just looking at a report, and well, PCI, it says 39 on this, in this area, we should go there next. But your explanation makes perfect sense. I didn't know the background, so it's helpful.
And what's also helpful too is with the most recent pavement management update, all of the streets along Braverman Drive, from Mass Boulevard to Hill Creek, the neighborhood streets north of it adjoining Mast, and essentially all the way on the eastern city limit side where we have the mountain, that was one residential zone. It was one of the largest zones we had. And so when we were looking at the report we broke that up from 1 to 3 so that we can come back in an annual contract and, okay, we'll get this third and throw $2 million into it to grind and overlay it and tackle it that way. Or else it's one of those, it's that neighborhood that's $5 million. It's really hard to dedicate an entire annual operating budget of paving to just one neighborhood, and then we turn our eye on all the other streets that we have to maintain to keep the PCI up.
John, do you remember that?
Yes.
I remember them talking about this new technology in streets that they were, I remember it very clearly.
So here, it goes back to the,
That
you don't know what you don't know, right?
Exactly.
And it's
new
not-
technology.
It's not every place that gets to see the two different, products side by side that were put down relatively close to the same time.
Correct.
And so that can be a really tell for us on what product to not buy in the future. And because I know that product can have can determine maybe the overall cost of a project. So
Right. And to really show how much nerd staff is into asphalt is they're both rubberized mixes. But the mix design that went out back in the time, or back in the day there from 2009, it was called a terminal blend rubberized asphalt. And basically, you make the rubber off-site, it's transported down to the plant, you throw in your aggregate, you add your asphalt, you inject the rubber. Versus what they called asphalt rubber, which was at the plant, you blend the rubber, you make it there, and you throw it all in at one and blend it continuously. That has a better quality than what terminal blend asphalts are. So in the early 2000s, terminal blends were cheaper. So it was, hey, we can get you rubberized asphalts. They're 15 to 20% lower in production costs versus the older traditional asphalt rubber. It just didn't have the lifespan. I don't think any agency lost money on it because you had a significant cost savings, but you just didn't get the same longevity. But tell that to a resident who has to live on those streets that say, hey, why is half my street?
Yeah.
And then we have to throw the nerd effect of really explaining the details of that's what it is. So,
well, to add to that too, at that time, the state was offering grants as well. And some of those streets, I can't remember if that one exactly, we used some of those grants, and it was recycled tire rubber, which was also part of it. And we participated in a few of those grants
Was
as
it
well.
Magnolia, one of the streets as well?
I believe Magnolia was one of those.
That's what I remember talking about on Magnolia back then.
and it's funny is Magnolia.
I remember this crap.
We used the asphalt rubber, the original blend.
Yep.
Wheat Terminal hadn't come out, and Magnolia is in better shape than in Braverman neighborhood that was paved 3 years later. So.
Hey, real quick, and I apologize for bringing this up too much, but Second Street was really pretty. And then the school district looked like they came in and cut a big hole in it.
I know there was some utility work out there. I'll have to.
Are they going to make it real pretty again?
They're going to have to, yeah.
We do add the condition when it's in our payment moratorium, we share that with all the utilities, and council included in the municipal code that within 5 years they do cut it. Our inspectors and our staff, we look at it. Sometimes they do work and they don't notify us, or it's emergency work and it gets lost. So, anytime we see that, we're going to try and catch it and make sure they do the extraordinary repairs they need to, which are half-street widths.
They built that nice big building there, the school district, so I'm thinking they all of a sudden realized they needed electricity or something.
Were you aware of the emergency work on Willow Grove?
On Willow Grove, was it today?
No, I mean, it was maybe it was earlier this year.
Oh, yeah.
There was a water leak?
Yeah.
Okay.
We often, we give them time to notify us and then pull an emergency permit so that we can track the work at that point. But we don't make them do it immediately because we purposely want them to get the work done without worrying about bureaucracy and red tape. Let's get it done, work with us. And I will say, it's not a perfect system. Sometimes utilities forget to notify us, and then we catch it, or council members catch it and report it to us. And I'd love to say we're proactive and drive every street in the city every day. We do not. And sometimes those do catch us off guard, and they do happen. It's unfortunate.
It's usually the only ones that would get missed if it was emergency work and we were not notified. All the permitted work, we know the locations, but there's sometimes it's 2:00 in the afternoon somewhere. A utility goes out, has to take care of it. Usually the guys are really good. They call staff, hey, we're out here. Okay, noted. And then sometimes they forget. It doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes it does. And then we give the reminder of, hey, let us know so we can follow up and get those fixed.
Sometimes it's an emergency and it's 11 o'clock at night and you're driving past it and Steve Miller comes knocking on your window in your car saying, hey, what's going on?
Good evening.
At 11 o'clock at night, he's out there on a Saturday checking out a project that's had some issues. But that's how dedicated our staff is. We got Steve Miller on it, man.
That was an expensive project that night.
Yeah.
So at $50,000 a night was needing to be on it. So.
You make that much a night?
No, I wish. Trust me, I wish. But that would be a misuse of public funds.
You're doing the wrong thing. So, just for council's, education, I was asking Steve about the hazard company. And I said, have they done any work for us before? Because I'm kind of a stickler about good, smooth, flat work being done. And he says, well, they're the same company that did down there at West Hills Parkway and Mission Gorge Road. And down there in, where the new gas station is and stuff. And quite frankly, that road was atrocious, and now it's actually quite nice. So they did a very good job. We're hoping that we get the same kind of performance that we did there. And from what I understand, they are that kind of a quality company. So we're very happy to have them back. And it doesn't mean you can't keep an eye on them, make sure that they get that thing flat and smooth.
Right.
So anyways, that's my last thing. Okay, let's go ahead. I have a motion and a second. Let's vote. No, you already did, though.
I did.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, then. Let's see, we already did that one. Non-agenda public comment?
No further speakers.
No further speaker slips. Okay, city council reports. Ron?
No, I'm fine.
Laura?
Yes. Last week, I attended the 42nd Annual Environmental Conference. It was in San Diego. And kind of, this is in preparation for my Air Pollution Control Board meeting tomorrow, which is going to be massively huge. But an interesting thing I learned is that in Europe, to fight GHG, they've developed new brakes. And maybe I'm like looking at over this side of the room because you guys probably already know about that, but I thought it was really interesting. That's the next avenue to, instead of VMT, it's these newly designed brakes.
Do they work?
Well, they're doing it in Europe, so we'll find out. There was a ribbon cutting for Susie Stoltz, who's a Santee citizen. She does fine art in the city. I attended the Albondigas San Diego. They went dormant for a while, but they're back in business, and the speaker was Representative Scott Peters. the ribbon cutting. Vice Mayor and I were at Santee Music Academy ribbon cutting, and that's over by the Santee Library. They've now taken over the third room, basically, or third area, which used to be Expressions Dance. And when they said the stat, Ron and I looked at each other and went, wow, they have 1,500 students that go through that music academy in Santee. It's really cool. And then Councilmember McNellis and I attended the Barbara L. Ryan Educational Resource Center dedication and ribbon cutting. Barbara is an absolute legend on the Santee School Board. She's been there, she's served for 47 years.
Well, incidentally, she is the longest-serving elected official in San Diego County.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Rob?
Yeah, I was able to attend the Second Amendment dinner on Saturday. That's put on by the San Diego Gun Owners PAC, and the benefit is for Not Me SD, which is a organization that was designed to empower and support women from being attacked and give them skills. And this dinner actually supports the classes for those that can't pay for them themselves. It was a really well-attended event. It's kind of another thing that went dormant for a couple of years after COVID. Things slowed down, and it kind of slowed down, but they're back. This was their first event again, and super excited to see them back on their feet and doing more to help empower women. Secondly, I was going to say that, we went to the ribbon cutting for the new Barbara L. Ryan building. Just what a wonderful human being that she is, the humility that she shows in everything that she does, but the institutional knowledge that she has is beyond compare. She's still sharp as a tack. She still remembers things like we were just talking about. We're talking about things that, 15, 16, 17 years ago. She's talking about things 30 years ago and remembers it very clearly still. It was great to see Dr. Johnson there, our old superintendent. She was phenomenal. And to be able to present that certificate of achievement for her was really neat. She was it was a very heartfelt experience for everybody. All of her family was there, along with a lot of the community. So, Barbara, hopefully you're probably in bed by now. It's been a long week for you, but we love you and thank you very much for all you've done for the city of Santee and the kids in the community.
Great, thanks. So this Monday, we had our monthly regional meeting for the League of California Cities, and actually it was quite good this month. They had a panel of folks there from Gentech, for instance. I hope I'm saying that name right. It might be Gen or Genetech, and Biotech. And then a couple of I think it was the CEO from the Regional Economic Development Council, and there's one other person, I can't remember where she was from. And then the panel host was Scott Peters, Congressman Scott Peters. A lot of people don't know, but Scott Peters, prior to becoming even a city council member in San Diego, he was actually an environmental attorney. So it's interesting that he still has kept his hands involved in some things, but he brought them there because they wanted to talk about not just the biotech industry, but they wanted to talk about the lack of housing for people who are in the biotech industry. And it was very interesting to hear them talking about the fact that a lot of people think that folks that are doing research are all these PhDs and they've got, either 4 years or 6 years or 8 years or whatever. But really, a lot of folks that are working in the industry also have just a trade skill. Many of them, because, for instance, lab equipment needs to be fixed, air conditioning systems to be fixed, so they have those people on staff. And then a lot of AA degree and 4-year degree people who do a lot of the, not the actual lab work necessarily itself.
Facilities maintenance.
or for facilities maintenance. I mean, it's a real wide variety of things, and there's thousands of jobs actually available just in the city of, or the county of San Diego. The thing that I didn't think about this, and I talked to the city manager about maybe we should be thinking about this as far as economic development and jobs. There are the, great big companies out there where they do a lot of major research, whether it's pharmaceutical or otherwise. But apparently there are hundreds and hundreds of like mom and pop labs out there where they could be in a storefront, like for instance, that might be next to GTM or who knows where it might be, because there are only maybe about 2 or 3 people that would work in there, and there's a very specific kind of research that they're doing. But that research supports research that's being done on a larger scale somewhere else. And there's a lot of educational grants available. And what made me really think about it tonight is the young people that were here that have gotten some grants to go on to trade schools. And so these are things that we maybe should be thinking about here locally also as we draw business, as we talk in the future about mixed use. Well, mixed use doesn't always have to be some kind of like little grocery outlet or something like that. Maybe we could start drawing people that want to live in our community and work in our community doing that kind of research. So it really opened up a whole lot of ideas that many of us never think about because we think about so many traditional types of business and industry and things of that nature. So we need to get excited about maybe bringing something else that will bring money. And a lot of those people that are entering this field, they have an average starting salary of about $170,000 a year. And the bad part is some of them can't even afford a home in a lot of our communities. So they still have 2 people working. But if you have people working and living in your community with a very sustainable living wage, well, you know what? That really does help the rest of our city out. So I think that's something that we might want to look at in the future, especially when we start talking about economic development. So that's all I have. City Manager.
Nothing from me.
City Attorney.
No report.
Great, thank you very much. So we do not have any closed session tonight, so that means meeting is adjourned.